Alrighty, just gonna be a few more minutes and I'll be right with everyone. Alrighty then. How's it going? Hope everyone's had a nice day. Obviously no tiefling cosplay today just because I've got work first thing. But the good news is I do have some I can sort of show you what I'm doing with my jacket. So yeah, if I just show you the other sleeve. So I've got the cuffs sewn on both sleeves, but this one obviously hasn't been folded over again. And basically what will happen is this will be, well, it's already sort of turned in, but it'll be folded over, pinned down, ironed, and then I can just start doing what I'm doing here. So you can see this is inside out, so this is the lining, this is the actual fabric, a nice sort of navy faux suede. And this is, I've literally been sewing this on and off throughout the morning, and I've only gone a few inches because yeah, basically this is called slip stitching. Basically you just catch a bit with a needle, pull it, catch another bit with a needle, and it's just the best way to get a stitch that slowly sort of isn't visible, and you can really only do it by hand. So yeah, that's something I'm working on. Overall, jacket sort of like you can see the main body of like this welt pocket wasn't in the original pattern, but I threw it in along with the lining because I like making welt pockets, it's fun. But yeah, you can see that this edge isn't finished, or this one, and this is where the sort of front band is going to go. That's where the buttons will live, and this up here is the neckline where the collar is going to go. So yeah, that's what I've been working on the last few weeks. Oh hey Maxting. Oh wow, you got here at the beginning for once. Well, it's always nice to have you whenever you join. Hope you're doing well today. To be fair, switch over. We're basically, because of the time zones, I keep forgetting if I'm starting earlier or later than people in US time zones, but yeah, until I think it's the coming Sunday when the clocks go back for us as well. Right, well, go forward. Wait, no. Yep, spring forward, fall back. It's a good mnemonic, even if we don't call the autumn fall here. Anyway, let's get this game going. Max Sting, you have like 4 time zones in the 48 anyway. Oh, this is true. Although, to be fair, they're all clustered together, so it's not too much of a massive difference. Even more if you account for Alaska and Hawaii. Yeah, I know Alaska's got some really funky time zones just because, obviously, well, you know, that's just how the North Pole is. But anyway, yep, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. This is the final case of the first game. This is like an omnibus of both games, so there'll be another game to play after this. Don't worry. Basically, Lestrade, who in this version of the Sherlock Holmes mythos is a teenage urchin girl with a grenade launcher. It makes perfect sense in context, but except it doesn't. Basically tried to claim a coat from a pawn shop. Now the coat doesn't seem to be hers, but it did turn out she was the rightful owner of it, insofar as that's possible. And someone else, gentleman, came in and tried to accuse her of stealing the ticket for it. But it turns out he was fibbing, and in any case, he pulled a gun, got arrested, and Sherlock Holmes here apparently stole the item he was after. Just because he felt like it, I guess. So now we're about to find out what's going on there. But yeah, just going to look around to see if there's anything else to analyse. I'm pretty sure we went over everything at the end of last session. Some of the buttons on my 8-bit do are getting a bit clicky. I should really sort of see about cleaning it. Yep, that's everything. Maxting, it hadn't occurred to you to make the detective character who was a pickpocket. No less. Yep. The sort of MacGuffin here is a music disc that everyone seems to want, and Sherlock Holmes is about to tell us about it. To be fair, if a sort of a police officer character or constable or what have you happens to be very good at slipping stuff into people's pockets, you should be very concerned. Case in point, Persona 4, The Golden. No less, must be that one Wu-Tang Clan album they only released for one person. Oh yeah, that one healthcare CEO. Just saying. Maxting, Sign of 4 was just not that good a story, in your opinion. Really should read the original Sherlock Holmes novels just to see what the fuss was about. Which one's Sign of 4? Yeah, no, list the guy who bought the Wu-Tang Clan album was that one, was the guy who made insulin massively expensive via a patent troll. But basically, the Wu-Tang Clan had that whole thing of, to be fair, to their credit, I think they expected whoever bought it to just release it publicly anyway, but, you know. Oh yeah, and for those who missed it, the music box disc we found has the name of the defendant from the third trial, who is currently deceased in mysterious circumstances. And apparently was dropped off at the pawn shop on the same day that the crime he was accused of occurred. Notice you didn't know much about the Wu-Tang Clan, but WTF? Yeah, it was a whole thing. What was that guy's name? Martin something? I know it began with an S. Anyway, I don't understand. Had that disc come to be in your possession, I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard. Hey, Press Ricard. Martin Shkreli. I think that's how it's pronounced anyway. I think it's SH like in school, and then just the rest is pronounced like it's spelled. For some reason you think he lost the record as a result of some legal case. Going to have to verify that one. Oh yeah, I remember he was arrested for some reason or other, and at that point the whole story of him pumping up the price of insulin, pun as always intended, was well known, so they had a lot of trouble finding a impartial jury. And also it was noted that the police could have taken custody of anything including the Wu-Tang Clan album. Notice that's like Syndrome from The Incredibles' level of not understanding how capitalism works. Well, I don't think he wanted to own it for its value. I think he just wanted to own it because, ha ha ha, I own something that no one else can have, sort of thing. Oh, right, you mean the releasing it thing? Yeah, that is a bit naive. I mean, I don't know much about the Wu-Tang Clan. Maybe they just honestly believed. Maybe they just wanted the money. Or they wanted to release something like that for the mystery of it. Perez Ricard, he tried to release it as an NFT. He streamed it to a bunch of people later, and that violated the agreement. A judge ordered he surrender all copies in his possession. Ah, okay, so he had to keep it secret. Max Sting, you mostly remember Sign of 4 was a gang of 4 murderers / assassins. You don't remember why they targeted who they did, but it was something unsubtly racist about the islander guy Tonga, and it made you kind of uncomfortable. Yeah. To be fair, a few Sherlock Holmes novels had that going on. Like, at the time, people of East Asian descent being featured was, I will not use the exact word, but one writing guide basically said, I will not, my story will not involve and it's a word meaning person from China, but I won't repeat the word that was actually used. And that's just because, there was the whole archetype of a mysterious, Far Eastern person in a mystery that was an annoying cliche. And, yeah, like, I remember when Sherlock was a thing, like, I think it was in the second season, second episode, that was really uncomfortably kinda, because they just did not do anything about the whole yellow peril stereotypes in it. But yeah, bit of a soapbox there. Perez Ricard, the Wu-Tang Clan didn't care what he did with it. The NFT people were the ones he had an agreement with later. Ah, okay. So yeah, I don't know what the Wu-Tang Clan's specific motive was, but I did hear the idea was that there was some rumours that they assumed whoever would bought it would share it with everyone eventually. Notice it's almost like NFTs only exist to scam people. Gee, you think? But yeah, the sort of title of this case indicates it might be based on the Hand of the Baskervilles, which to be fair is, I think, one of the best Sherlock Holmes mysteries, just because it's got that slight horror element to it. But also, because it's horror, it's a mystery, so it gets explained eventually. I think that, like, while it's often said that horror comes from a lack of explanation, like, you know, a joke without a punchline. So I think a mystery that's sort of horror until it gets explained just works so well for, you know, just the catharsis of it. Because the whole point of a mystery is you get the catharsis of solving it. Like, either, you know, maybe you get to see it in advance, maybe you don't, but you get that, oh, aha, that's what they did moment. Max Sting, unfortunately there was your own tiny state capital insurrection, where you are and the loud angry Republicans who busted into the legislature were there to root out Chinese people, so you guess that's gonna happen. Yeah, this was a different, like, obviously that the China's basically the new Soviet Union now, you know, just sort of McCarthyists are going on, like, accusing people of having ties to China. Well, to be fair, it's more of an American thing, not so much over here. Like, the government here just hate trans people and immigrants right now. But you know, I'm in danger. But yeah, authoritarians will always have their scapegoats. Nullis, anyway, sounds like Gregson's down one Wu-Tang Clan album. Oh yeah, there's a game here, isn't there? Yeah, one thing I do like about Sherlock Holmes that some adaptations get right and some don't is he wasn't above some petty larceny if he thought it would help the case. So I'm going to assume that he pinched it off Gregson. Like, to be fair, there's been quite a few clever references. Like, he was sort of talking about his caramel bar earlier, like it was the solution of morphine Sherlock Holmes tended to take when he was depressed. And yeah, Holmes was a very fun character. It's like, he's one of those more too clever by half sort of characters. Like, he's arrogant, but he can sort of back it up. And that's sort of endlessly fascinating. I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard. Quite correct. And that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this. Okay, he bribed him. That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes. Your one and only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken. If you'll humour me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. I'll be taking that whatever it is and McGill is down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh yeah, of course. If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. Wait, did he make a copy out of caramel? For the briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes, you did, but I still don't understand. Oh, okay, you took a cast of it. Just like a key in the first Broken Sword game. Max saying you still think it's hilarious that he was afraid of his brain filling up with stuff that wasn't part of his hyper-focus of crime fighting. So he deliberately forgot when Watson corrected him that the Earth revolves around the Sun and not vice versa. Oh yeah. Not that I'll freely admit this, but I only know of that particular quirk from Sherlock. It was at precisely that moment that I summoned my one and only friend into action. I pressed the disc into a pair of bars, like this. That's amazing. The disc and all the minuscule protrusions have made an image in the caramel. Indeed, this caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. He invented caramel that can be used to make quick impressions of things. Although, aside from keys, I can't really imagine he'd really need that often. Suitably soft for making impressions, but resistant to melting. The result of a precisely controlled solution. Max Sting is sure many Holmes fans have endeavoured to come up with a way that Holmes would be stumped by a crime that for some reason required him to believe in the findings of freaking Copernicus. But then, Max Sting, the information would become pertinent to the crime, so he'd accept the correction, wouldn't he? How extraordinary. Carrying a pair of these on one's person frequently proves very useful indeed. Take a house key, for example. A simple press and its unique form is duplicated. They do actually sell kits that you can use to quickly make a cast of a key. Not that there would be any particular reason to do such a thing. I can enter anyone's property at will, and never without a high sucrose nourishment. Yep, so fun fact, sucrose is what you get from cane sugar or beet sugar. But there's also maltose, glucose, and other simpler sugars. Which you get when, there's also fructose, which you actually get, and, like, some are sold as more healthy than others, but basically the body breaks them all down anyway, and eventually you just get glucose, which is what the body digests. But then, of course, carbohydrates are themselves made of other simple sugars in long chains. Max Sting, there's also lactose. Yep, the sugar found in milk, which many people have trouble digesting as they become adults. Yep. In fact, lactose tolerance tends to be selected for in low sunlight areas of the world and nomadic cultures, because drinking milk is just either a good way to offset a lack of vitamin D, or if you don't have time to stick around and make cheese. Notice, as an American, you're well acquainted with fructose, of course, because high fructose corn syrup, as it's called, is the most common form of sugar sold in America, just because it's very specifically an Americanism, because there's subsidiaries for corn, which makes it significantly cheaper than any other sort of sugar. Although my understanding isn't this it's necessarily healthier or less healthy than any other form of sugar. So yes, Nolis, as you're saying in chat, it is an American thing, and the reason you use more of it is because, well, I suppose you could argue it's capitalism, but there's also the fact America produces a lot of corn anyway, so it would probably be cheaper one way or another anyway. In fact, most sugar in Europe is actually produced from beet. They did actually specifically breed beets that could be used to make sugar after discovering sugarcane, though. Like, the entire distribution network of sugar throughout the history is fascinating. For a lot of the time, sugar was hard to get in the West because the only place in Europe you could grow it was Spain, which was part of the Ottoman Empire at the time. Vienna, for a long time, had Vienna had a sort of monopoly on it just because the islands off the coast of Italy were the best place to grow it. Maxing the monoculture of it and the difficulty escaping it can create health problems for some, so while it's not necessarily better or worse than other sugars, it's worse when there's only fructose available. That makes sense. Notice you haven't had beets very often and you remember being okay with them. Yeah, I'm not necessarily a fan of them, but they're okay. Interesting texture. Like, pickled beets are a very common thing here, especially in salads. The thing about beetroot is it's bright red and it stains clothing like a mofo. It's one of the things you'll see in a sort of washing soap adverts. They'll just like stain a white shirt with it, and you know, the audience being shown will be all like and then they'll demonstrate the power of their cleaning solution, although it's actually a lot easier to get off if you're using a bio, just because obviously it's organic, so biological cleaners will get rid of it quite handily. Maxting, you tried Borched. That's a really beloved Borched shot around where you are and discovered you hate it. That makes you sad. I don't know what Borched is, but I've heard the word before. Presumably it's something made from beets. Maxting, you think you just don't like beets. Well, that's also fair. And to be fair, sugar beet is it's literally grown just to make sugar from. As I said, it was specifically selected to have high quantities of sugar. Although I think it is given to horses sometimes as a treat. It's kind of like bunnies and carrots in that it's a bit too high sugar to feed animals with, but it's great for a treat. Notice it was probably pickled beets you had before, come to think of it. Yeah, that's how they're usually sold. Yes, it sounds illegal. From the image, I was able to create this. Oh yeah, when I was a kid there was a show called The Adventures of Shirley Holmes I used to enjoy. Which was literally it was Sherlock Holmes, but the protagonist was a teenage girl. But she was acting exactly the same. So it's kind of like if Life is Strange starred Chloe Price but without any superpowers. Which I do realise is before the storm. Maxting, you probably wouldn't have any ill will towards sugar beet derived sugars, as you doubt there'd be much of the beet left. Maxting, that's pretty cute actually. What specifically? I suppose the thing is, there's an endless parade of Sherlock Holmes but X, which like the best ones sort of play with the original stories because they know they're an adaptation. Maxting, Shirley Holmes just being a Sherlock Holmes gender swapped and as a teenager. Well, more specifically a teenager, well, it was, I say modern, but it was in the 90s, so not quite modern anymore, but Yeah. And the opening sort of implied she was a direct descendant thereof. No less, Max without any powers. Chloe had blue hair and no powers. Yeah. I said, basically, Max, if she had Chloe's attitude, would be the best way to put it. Because, like, in the original novels, Sherlock Holmes was not opposed to sort of committing petty crimes and just generally being a dick. So that's how I'd sort of imagine it would go. And like I said, that is basically the premise of Before the Storm, so who knows? Maybe if Chloe Price wasn't obsessed with her detective novels instead of chemistry. I confess, I was most curious to know what manner of music would issue from the disc when played. Okay, the music on the disc. Do you tell us then, Mr. Sholmes? What music does the disc play? Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. No idea? Because he doesn't have a music box. None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of a music box, my dear fellows? No, I'm afraid not. Goodness, you don't know Reno? Inside a music box, there's a special metal piece called a comb. That's what produces the sound. Ironically, trying to do a child voice is what hurts my throat more than anything else, even the super deep ones. Small and it's hard to pronounce anything. Small protuberances plug the different teeth of the comb as they rotate past it, making the different notes. The first music boxes to be invented used a rotating cylinder with protuberances on it. But over time, a new type of player was produced, which uses discs such as these. Notice, we're picking Cyrodiilian logs now. Oh, that's a music box. Yeah. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide, all across the globe. You know, it's been a while since I ranted on how, there's actually a game I've had on my Steam library for a while. It's literally just a library of different games, lockpicking mechanics. Maybe I should stream that at some point just to see. Why exactly? Because the discs are easy to produce and can be interchanged to facilitate the playing of different tunes. Notice that minigame sucks so bad. Yeah, every playthrough I had, the first thing I do was go to the which Daemon Shrine was it? Sorry, Daedric Prince Shrine, was it? The one that got you the infinite unbreakable lockpick. There are a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music boxes as a result. It is wonderful to be able to enjoy music, even when no performer is present. Okay, yeah, it's wild to think that just like a century ago, being able to listen to music was a luxury you needed another person for. Well, maybe not like a couple of centuries ago. Nocturnal, that was it, no less. The one generally associated with the Thieves Guild. Kind of interesting, because that was the reward for the Shrine quest. So unlike Skyrim, it was completely separated from the Thieves Guild quest. Yeah, well, you don't need to complete the Thieves Guild quest line for it at all. Basically, no less. That's a completely different thing. Personally, I think the Thieves Guild quest is actually a lot more interesting than the one in Skyrim, but that's just me. Her statue just gives you the skeleton key. If I recall correctly, there's a quest, but I can't remember the details. But you find her shrine, do the quest, you get the skeleton key. But it's the very success of the invention that means we're now presented with an insurmountable problem. What do you mean? Yeah, I really should get on with this game, shouldn't I? As you may imagine, the construction of one firm's music box does not match that of another. Fun fact, one of the more important innovations in the Victorian era was actually standardisation. So it's when they started keeping standard measurements and stuff. Metrics, if you will. Notice the one in Skyrim gets 2 Skyrim by half. Yeah. Plus, you only get the skeleton key for a bit, and you have to give it up to complete the quest. And that sucks. I mean, to be fair, the lockpicking mechanics are completely different, so it's not that big a loss. But basically, if you have the skeleton key, you can just spam the auto try until it works, no matter how difficult the lock is. And we have no way of knowing in which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There is no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable. Oh, I see. So that's why. Naturally, I tested the disc in a few of those music boxes I have at my disposal. In those few music boxes I have at my disposal. But as you can hear, to no avail. The results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. So, I'm presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe. Every single one? That's Hurley for you, always taking things too far. But my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution. But surely all the different types in Europe will amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? Yes, that is certainly true. In the worst case, I shall just have to ask you to vacate the attic room. What? Unless you're sneaking around for most of it, although the game doesn't care if you just fight your way through everything, and then suddenly you're doing a dungeons and boss fights like any other quest. Yeah. And I saw the betrayal coming off a mile away, and Oblivion sort of, Dark Brotherhood quest did that whole betrayal thing much better, in my opinion. And Oblivion has a pretty neat sort of, I think my favourite quest in the Oblivion's Thieves Guild quest was when you're basically sent to gather an artifact. That was literally the sort of, the boots of Spring-Heeled Jack. And, which let you survive any fall. And you meet a guy who's apparently the descendant of him, and the long story short, the twist is that he's a vampire, and he was actually the very guy. And it was just such a fun quest. There's even a giant slaughterfish hidden in an underground thing. I love it when it's literally just a normal slaughterfish but scaled up, but just take my word for it was fun. And it's just a classic heist, because the reason you need the boots is because you need the ability to survive a really high fall. Anyway, Mangus McGilded. Mangus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear again so soon. Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. Was it the curse of the Reaper? None knows. Still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash. Not a shred of evidence remained. And with the man's death, the truth about the murder in which he was so intimately involved was buried. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilded's innocence in the trial, the newspapers are still claiming that it remains an unsolved case. Has Van Zeeks already had that scar? Yeah, I don't think it was that obvious, but I think he's always had it. Although I'm not entirely sure if it's a scar, if he's just got a really sort of specific forehead thing. Notice, he's not Dracula, he's Alucard. Well, we better hope his dad didn't show up then. Notice, on the other hand, in Oblivion you stole one shiny stone, a Vala stone as it turned out, and then just got all the missions unlocked and didn't have to steal anything else. Oh yeah, I remember, because you had to fence a certain amount of things by just doing general burglaries. Like, some might argue that's busy work, but I kind of enjoyed that element of it. You know, just having to pay your dues. By actually doing crime for the Crime Guild quest. It's like, it wasn't even you know, you had to burgle anyone in particular. Oh yeah, I remember the sort of opening quest was, you basically had a sort of a race to try and burgle a particular person. That was fun too. I mean, I always saved Scum to make sure I won it, but I don't know if there was if failing it just meant you had to get in another way. It's like, there's a thief you could, who's been locked up, and you could get information from him by, giving him a lockpick to escape. So, so much of, that quest line lives in my head rent-free. Yeah, but I didn't really like the sort of supernatural element of Skyrim's Thieves Guild quest. It's like, oh, they've upset their god of thieves. Well, Daedric Prince of Thieves, but you know. The murder of the brickmaker, Mr. Thrice-fired Mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. In the end, it has to be that way. Sorry. We still have no idea what really happened that night. And although Mr. McGill was found not guilty through my defence, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. Notice you went back to Oblivion to clean out the achievements long ago, but you don't remember all that much. Yeah. The thing is, I have so many hours in Oblivion, but after Skyrim, it just feels so hard to go back. It's like, I had trouble with Morrowind as well, because my first Elder Scrolls game was Oblivion. They just sort of iterate on themselves, so you just can't handle the jank of the previous one anymore. Or maybe that's just me. Perhaps I'm just weak. It would appear the case is not yet closed. I'll inform Detective Conan. Well, it's time I started getting things ready for dinner, I think. Why does she need a gun out for that? Guinea will be here before long. Thank you, Iris. Oh, well, you must let me help you then. Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do. I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Now then, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker. Yes, you might be right. Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Winterbank said before. He said that he had a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he? Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom. Were his words, I believe. So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were as incensed as I was. Oh yes, the idea of such a wonderful story languishing in Mr. Winterbank's storeroom, gathering dust. My dear madame, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than a bank's vault. And what about your Stradivarius, Hurley? Was that safe and secure? Well, there might be the occasional mix-up. Maxting, more in store for you was, it had so much more freedom, mostly the point of hilarity. Like, this is a scripted encounter just outside the first town, the guy falls from the sky and dies in front of you. He has 3 scrolls of a spell that increases your acrobatics and thus your jumping, so high that you fling yourself violently into the air clear across the continent. But it wears off before you hit the ground, which introduces some significant things about the magic. Yeah, I know about that one. To be fair, there are a lot of sort of really interesting things like that. I think the thing I remember the best is the Boots of Blinding Speed, which you can get quite sort of early on and increase your speed ridiculously, but you don't, as the pun would suggest, you can't see anything while you're wearing them. You can instead walk around the scripted encounter so it doesn't go off. Go and get the magic skills and alchemy skill up to create a spell that saves him by casting an area of effect Featherfall. Notice you're given a Morrowind a couple of tries, but you just can't, with the attack rolls and the 2-colour palettes and the roaming enemies that one-shot you. Yeah, I think I've said, I feel like Skyrim's actually a better Morrowind than, well, Skyrim's final DLC sort of is good because it sort of has the aesthetic of Morrowind, but it just makes it a lot more interesting. And I know I might get jumped for saying that, but yeah. Caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me right now. Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that Baskerville story, Hurley? Oh, sounds so exciting. The Hand of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. Okay, so this isn't going to be a Hand of the Baskervilles adaptation. Maxting Morrowind has freedom, which is a burden and an absurdity. So if that's what you liked about Morrowind, you bet Elder Scrolls 4 and 5 would be annoying, but the freedom is at a grave cost. Yeah, it's just kind of janky, I guess. And like, you know, the random attacks just annoy the hell out of me. Yeah, I get the charm of jank, Maxting. It's just like, there's a game called Quantum Conundrum, which was made by some of the former Portal developers, and like, it's a good game on paper at least, but just playing it feels like you're just exploiting glitches some of the time. It just doesn't have that je ne sais quoi. Did she say something wrong? What's going on here? Why does it feel like an icy chill just swept through the room? Susie, what did you just say? You said The Hand of the Baskervilles, but how could you know that full title? Well, that's because Miss Susato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course. But Bruno, The Hand of the Baskervilles, has never been published. What? When I showed Hurley the manuscript, he told me I wasn't allowed to publish it yet. I don't understand. That's why he said he'd keep it safe, until it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see. So that's why the manuscript is at Winterbanks. And yet, how could Susie here know its title? Well, Hurley, what's going on? Oh. What is it, Mr. Sholmes? Nullis, honestly, a couple of puzzles / shrines in TOTK are feeling like this does not feel like the way it was supposed to do it, but you don't know what the intended way was. TOTK. It would appear our guest has arrived. Miss Lestrade. Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. To be fair, a lot of, the shrines are designed to have open-ended solutions, so that kind of makes sense. This was a bad idea. I knew I weren't welcome. I'm going. Me when I show up anywhere. No, wait, Miss Lestrade. We've all been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Haven't we, Iris? Oh no, this was terrible timing. Okay. Yep, just wait there, Ginny. We'll have everything ready in a jiffy. Come along, Susie. Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you here, Mr. Strad. Please, make yourself at home. Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come along in. What say you to some Mendelssohn? I won't take no for an answer. Meddlesome it is then. So cute with his little bow tie. That evening, Iris prepared us all a meal that was even more delicious than usual. Maxting, Tloztotk, is surely much more specific. Notice? Tloztotl looks like a Mesoamerican character name. Maxting, is the game actually going to play some Mendelssohn? No idea. Apparently not. Mr. Sholmes' violin performance was in no way meddlesome, and Juno, as we came to call her, taught us how to steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves well into the night. I hope nothing bad happens. 15th of April, 9:34 p.m. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. That was a very enjoyable evening, wasn't it? Maxting, Juno is now your favourite character. I mean, she was already mine, but you know, rogue. So of course she was. Oh yes, Iris's cooking was truly divine. And I feel as though I can still hear the enchanting strains of Mr. Sholmes' violin even now. Best of all, I bet I could steal the glasses from his lordship's face next time we're in court. I love how every assistant in an Ace Attorney game is low-key chaos. Naruhodo-san, could I consult you with you about something, I wonder? What do you reckon the legal ramifications of doing that would be? Maxting, you'd love to know how to steal stuff. Well, there's plenty of YouTube tutorials on it. What's the matter, Zato-san? I mean, I literally learned how to lockpick from a kit. Actually, if that sort of thing interests you, Maxting, can I recommend you try reading, was it The Burglar's Guide to the City? It's a pretty cool non-fiction book about how sort of crime and architecture intersect. It's like, I read it because it was brought up a lot on in the sort of design of stealth games, and but there's a lot to think about. But for example, like your typical fantasy adventure in a dungeon, mechanically, well, a dungeon is basically someone else's sort of home that you're intruding in. I was actually sort of thinking about this because I think I've mentioned it a couple of times, but Pixels got me watching The Owl House, and I was kind of interested how that sort of treated the sort of magic school, because apparently there wasn't going to be one in the first place, but executive meddling demanded it because of certain franchises. But the first time it's sort of shown, the main character is not a student there, she's basically an intruder. So it just come across as very much like a, you know, like a D&D character in a dungeon. And it's just such a fascinating perspective. Especially since, you know, the first episode is introduced ends with the character she's sort of been hanging around with, just getting her out of there because she can't get anything worse than sort of a normal school punishment. No less, chat is responding to me before I say things. curse your computer that you don't trust with turning low latency back on. Max Dane, there's a sci-fi book kind of deserving with a lot of sympathy for all the characters involved, where one of the lead characters can't stop himself from time travelling. Unfortunately, he always appears naked everywhere he goes, so he has to get really good at stealing, and survival even as a child involves not just stealing clothes but picking a lot of pockets. So at one point he finds himself going back in time accidentally again, and teaches himself as a child how to do that. Okay, that is pretty cool. What's that? I believe that's called the bootstrap paradox, wherein you literally teach yourself how to do something. Oh yeah, let's find out what Susato-san needs. It's about the telegram I received. Oh. The one that arrived first thing this morning, I suppose. I've been summoned. What? Summoned? What do you mean? The telegram was from the Lord Chief Justice's office. Lord Strongheart asked to see me. Lord Chief Justice? When? Max Dane, kind of like All You Zombies by Heinlein. All You Zombies is that short story where it turns out the main character is literally every other character in the story via time travel, isn't it? Up to and including their own parents. Both of them. It's questionable intersex / trans rep, to say the least. Tomorrow morning. It's some very early trans-mask representation, that's for sure. Yeah. What? Then we have to start preparing at once. Oh, no, that won't be necessary, Naruhodo-san. I've been summoned alone. Alone? What on earth for? Yeah, with early rep jank. I figured you meant that. I have no idea. I suppose I shall find out tomorrow. What's all this about? Whatever it is, it's making me feel very uneasy. Oh, who could that be, I wonder? Good evening, friends. Oh, Iris. Hello again. And Gina, too. Yep, Ginny's gonna stay with us tonight. She's going to sleep in with me. Max Dane, you appreciate that he portrayed what happened to her as an injustice. It wouldn't have happened without forced sterilization, which was very much a real thing at the time. Yeah, not just at the time. There were countries until as recently as a few years ago where trans people had to be sterilized to be recognized. For his regard, they adapted All You Zombies into a pretty good movie about a decade ago called Predestination. Yeah, I heard about that. I really should consider watching it sometime. You know, I'm kind of tempted to just do a Gina cosplay just because that outfit looks fun to make. Isn't that right, Ginny? In fact, maybe I could try making her hat just because. Well, yeah. How lovely. Let me make a pot of tea. You know, I've learned so much today. Oh, what in particular? All those things Ginny showed us. Wasn't it wonderful? Oh, you mean all those pickpocketing techniques? We had fun trying to stick them out on each other, didn't we? Okay, the pickpocketing's gonna come up later, isn't it? I think I've awakened a natural talent. I could earn a living from it. You might be getting ahead of yourself a little there. You know, something that always gave me a lot to think about rogues in fantasy settings was a Tumblr post that went to... I can't remember how old it is, but basically the person who wrote it said they always wanted to be a pickpocket just because it sounded cool. But after practicing, when they tried it, they got a large wad of cash, but they realised it was probably the person they were stealing it from's rent money or something, and returned it. And that's the thing, isn't it? Anyone worth stealing, anyone it would be in any way remotely acceptable to steal from, it is not going to be easy to steal from. Which actually sort of informed a lot about how I think about playing sort of rogue D&D characters. Because at the end of the day, stealing from someone isn't a very nice thing to do. Oh, we're being raided by Mended Pearl. How's it going? Ooh, and did my new raid message work? Heck yes, it worked. What have you been playing? 2 Point Museum. How's it going? I'm not really sort of necessarily into sort of sim games like that. But I did sort of enjoy a few of them as a kid. And it looks like I know 2 Point Hospital and 2 Point Campus were both really well received. For those who don't know me, I mean, Mended Pearl's rated me often enough. You probably do, but hi, I'm BisectedBrioche. I'm a trans woman streamer. I play through mostly through single-player games. Occasionally I do tabletop RPGs. And occasionally I cosplay. Not today because I've got work first thing in the morning, but yep. Welcome to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. This is the final case of the first game. This is sort of a duology of both the games. So there's another game to play after this, but we're sort of only a couple of hours in. And long story short, this is Iris. She's just made friends with a rogue. She's an artificer, and this is a very strange adaptation of Sherlock Holmes, I guess. The rogue is a teenage girl who's this game's Lestrade. So what brings you up to our humble quarters at this late hour? Well, you see, I came to return this. Wait, what? That's mine. Max thinks she's infinitely more likeable than the book's Lestrade. This is true. Oh my, however did you? Okay, just for reference, this is literally a band he wears on his arm. Whoops. Notice occasionally, probably about as many days a week on average as I stream, especially counting off stream games. I mean, I cosplay when I can, but I can't always wear a cosplay. I mean, I was just talking about, well, you'll be able to see it in a moment, but I kind of want to recreate Lestrade's outfit. I have a natural talent for it. Oh yeah, I'd forgotten. Iris literally is a child genius. So anyway, here, you can have it back. Like when Lestrade was first introduced, she had a grenade launcher. Like a smoke grenade launcher, to be fair. Not that I really understand why you wear it, though. Oh, thank you. Alright then, good night. Yeah, good night. Oh, you meant playing tabletop RPGs? Yeah, that's fair. In fact, I'll be streaming a tabletop RPG running tomorrow. So this is your office, is it? What do you think, Ginny? I think I wouldn't fancy me the chances with a lawyer what lives in a place like this. Yep, me too. It seems as though Iris here still has something she'd like to talk about. I suppose she probably wants to talk about the manuscript. Yeah, I suppose she probably does. Maxine, you have to admit at a glance Gina's not wrong. I mean, she's not. When you think about it, that's kind of funny, because Gina is short for Regina, so her being called Ginny is basically short. It's basically a nickname on top of a nickname. Okay, is there anything else to look at around here? Bruno, what are you doing? Look, I'm not going to steal nothing, alright? It's just junk anyway. Charming. I suppose you should engage our guests in conversation, really. Okay, I can't look at anything then until I'm done talking to the two of them. Okay, the manuscript. Iris, I suppose you're hoping to talk about the manuscript, aren't you? Maxine, now on the other hand, you could see looking to him for help because obviously he isn't making any money, but maybe he'd be less likely to kick you out of the door for not having much to pay. That's a fair point, actually. Like they did explicitly say at the start of this chapter, even though he's the protagonist sort of solved two very high profile cases, being a foreign student basically means he's not been getting many cases at all. Aren't you going to tell me? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I need a little more time, please. Oh, yeah, so it's basically, earlier we discovered that her dad was the victim of the very first case. Alright, I understand. I hope I haven't made you feel awkward. Oh no, not at all, Iris, not at all. Don't know what this is about, really, but it's a story you made up, is it, Iris? This mantle script or whatever you call it. Maxting assumes has the brilliant deduction that she's a time traveller. It's not exactly a story I made up, it's something I read in Daddy's diaries. Daddy's? That's right. I don't suppose I mentioned it to you before, Ginny, but my daddy was Hurley's assistant once. His partner. Yeah? They solved all sorts of strange and mysterious cases together. I've been saying trying to do Iris's voice. It actually hurts my throat more than anything else. And it sort of throws off my calibration for every other voice. Is that right, mister? Apparently so. Not as surprised as you are, though. And Daddy wrote all the details of every single case down, you see, in his diaries. So I study them and write my stories based on what actually happened. Sorry, the Twitch app on my phone just crashed there. Maxting, once you eliminate every impossible solution. No less Susato is because she has that tablet she hides in her book. Yeah. They're really getting a lot of mileage out of her book flipping animation. So where's your old man now then? He had to go away on urgent business to a faraway land, and he'll be gone a very long time. So, I've never really met him. Alright. Come to think of it, I don't know anything about Gina's parents either. Perhaps we should ask her. Yeah, that's right, Max Dink. He literally died in, well, we don't need to deduce that he died. We literally, solved his murder in the first case. Okay, I guess, he's not in the case log. Sorry, he's not in the gallery there. Okay, the Hand of the Baskervilles. Iris, this Hand of the Baskervilles story. I take it there's another tale inspired by your father's accounts. That's right. I thought it was fascinating. Okay, whenever Iris says that, right, that's right, I keep getting the urge to say, Meowth, that's right. But it's different somehow, from the other cases, I mean. Oh, how? I didn't really know, but it must be special in some way, because after I'd written it, and I showed the manuscript to Hurley, he turned as white as a sheet. It was the first time I've ever seen him like that. It pains me to have to say this after you've toiled over it for so long, Iris, but this story must not be published at this time, under any circumstances. I wonder if this is a reference to the way, one of the stories makes reference to, the story of the Sumatran rat or something like that, the world of which is, for which the world is not ready. But why not? It's one of my best works. I'm not at liberty to say. Not now, so please, do not ask me. Alright then, I won't. But I do solemnly swear that I will explain everything one day, Iris, when the time is right. And that's how the manuscript came to be with Mr. Winderbank, isn't it? Yep. Hurley said it had to be somewhere very safe. Hey, that really gets my goat, it does. He's treating you like a child. I mean, that's what it is, keeping secrets like that. I'm sure Mr. Sholmes isn't trying to be mean. Hey? If he said he wasn't at liberty to talk about it, I'm sure there must have been a very good reason. I think so too. You lot are too trusting for your own good, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes. Sholmes is lying to Iris. I bet my life on it. I mean, is he really lying when he just says he can't tell her? That's not really a lie as much as can't tell you. Like, is it at the very least he's revealing known unknown. What? Maxting, you know what a lot of these characters need more of? Pockmarks, the tiny wrinkles and the scars of a life that's been lived. And perhaps freckles. Yeah, the art style is pretty anime, to be fair. Hurley's lying to me? Okay. Oh yeah, let's present this for fun. Would you mind if I showed you this, Iris? It's just a boring old thing, really, but... I don't really like boring things. It looks like Japanese modesty is easily misinterpreted by young Western children. I mean, who does like boring things? No one wants to be shown something boring. Come to think of it, you're always introducing things with, this is boring, but it's a bad habit, you should stop it. I'll be sure to let that the entire population of the Empire of Japan know on my return. Nonetheless, to be fair, first 3D game of the series, and it's not that recent. You have no idea how old this is. 2017, I want to say. Okay, so if we click on... Okay, your parents. I've realised I don't know anything about your parents, Gina. I ain't got any, have I? Never did have. Look, the East End's full of orphans like me. No one wants nothing to do with us, apart from from the minute we're born. Not even our mums. Yeah, you might want to Google that notice, because I don't know off the top of my head. But we all stick together. You're the ones look after the little ones and make sure they get by. So that's why you're a pickpocket. Nah, diving's my life. I love it. I get a kick out of it every time I lift some pompous idiot's purse. And that's how we all afford to eat. I'm like Robin Hood, ain't I? That's why I see it. Oh, Gina. I do think about it sometimes. What it'd be like to have parents, I mean. I always thought it'd make everything right. But having listened to what Iris just said, it sounds like having parents ain't always easy either. Press record, Wikipedia says 2015. Okay, yeah, I knew it was sort of like mid 2010s. Oh wow. In that case, these games are a decade old. I'll just crumple into dust here. Oh, no less Japan in 2015, and the West is a set in 2021. Oh yeah, I feel like it was released digital only. In the West, actually, I'm not sure, because obviously, if it was a 3DS game, there wouldn't be any region encoding. Wait, did the 3DS have region encoding? I can't remember. No less, what's worse is how old Skyrim is. Oh yeah, you don't need to remind me when that was released, because it had a great, absolutely perfect release date. The 11th of the 11th, 2011. Press record, the 3DS was indeed region locked. Oh yeah, of course it was. I remember it was a whole thing, although not necessarily consistent. Because before that, the conventional wisdom was, because you might take a portable console anywhere, you might take it to another country and want to buy games while you were there. Like, I actually imported a fair few games for my, definitely my DS. I'm not sure I did it for my Game Boy Advance. But like, it's kind of difficult to do that. Like, you had to find a site, you know, a foreign site that would actually sell to you, which was actually a lot harder than it sounds. Because obviously PayPal was a relatively new thing at the time. Sounds like having parents ain't always easy either. I mean, if you know you never had them, you don't feel like you always wanted to meet them. It's true. And Suzato is just low-key experiencing how horrifying this entire conversation is. I do want to see Daddy so much. Oh, Iris. Oh yeah, just a reminder, we actually know he's dead, because, again, he was the victim in the first case. So he literally died on the other side of the world. Nolas, 2011 gets a 20, huh? You say it's actually 2000 for years up to... What? Oh yeah, here we tend to say like 2011, 2012. Although we call the 2000s the noughties. Oh wait, you mean specific years? I didn't know then. Because I know, one thing I've noticed is in UK English we tend to say "and" a lot more. Like in America you'll say something like November 12th, whereas here we always say the 12th of November. Unless we're saying it as a shorthand date, like, but then it'll be like 12th November or 12th the 3rd. Yep, sorry, 12th of the 3rd. Like it'll get abbreviated all the way. And there's other stuff like Americans, I think you tend to say you'll write your sort of senator, whereas here we write to our MP. Anyway, Sholmes's lie. Gina, what do you mean when you said you know Mr. Sholmes is lying to Iris? Well, I reckon he popped that manuscript or whatever, right? But come on, that's obviously a load of rubbish. Oh my, why do you think that, Gina? It's simple. If that story was really an old Winterbank storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words, you, could know about it. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. But Hurley would never do something like that. I'm sure of it. Maxting, you need to go do some dishes, so if I hear you talking in here, tell you to go do the dishes. Will do, Maxting. Will do. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, a lot of them. You just ain't realised it yet. I'm telling you, that mantle script ain't at Winterbanks. You'll soon see if you had a look. Even if you think you can trust him, I don't. That Sholmes is a liar like the rest of them. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. See? I don't mean I think he sold it. I mean that sometimes I wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Don't be too hard on yourself, Iris. Oh my goodness, look at the time. Come along, Ginny. We should go back downstairs. Yeah, alright. And please, don't mention any of this to Hurley, will you? No, of course not. Good night then, Iris. Good night, Gina. You must let me bring breakfast for you tomorrow morning, I insist. Oh, yes please. I can't wait, Susie. Good night then. Iris, it sure is easy to forget, isn't it? Sometimes she speaks just like an adult, but deep down she's still just a child. A very short, high-pitched child. I think it's time I turned in for the night too, Naruhodo-san. Dr. John H. Wilson, Iris's father, but also the name of the murdered visiting professor at UMar University. It can't be a mere coincidence. There's something deeper going on. Oh yeah, I wonder if the villain from that case is coming back then. Like, she's literally an English national who was basically deported for her past in the crime. Naruhodo, Mr. Naruhodo. That voice, that's Mr. Sholmes. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't tell me that Sholmes has been... Okay, he's fine. What's going on? It's the middle of the night. It's Miss Lestrade. She's gone. Gina? She was supposed to be sleeping in Iris's room, but her bed is empty. Well, she's an independent young woman. She probably decided to go home, no? I think not. From speaking to her before she retired, I received the distinct impression that she was looking forward to breakfasting with Miss Susato. No, I don't believe the girl has gone home, but I've been waiting for over an hour now. Over an hour? Oh. If you'll indulge me, look out the window, my dear fellow. What's this about? Oh, I've been followed. Did my new alert work? I've been followed by Franziska von Karma. Excellent handle. Okay, has Gina basically oh, thanks to the hydrate. Maybe I should get make a GIF of me pouring some TASMR for the hydrate. Redeem. Okay, so I guess Gina's broken into the pawnbrokers to get to the bottom of that mystery. Wait a minute. Why is there a light on at this time of night? That's Mr. Winterbank's pawnbrokery. Mr. Winterbank's. Oh no. Oh no. And there's a camera in there. It takes a photo every hour. So if she's been in there an hour, she's going to get caught. It's simple. If that story is really an old Winterbank storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words, you, could know about it. Sorry, Iris, if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. Could Gina have gone? It seems you have some knowledge of the situation, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? Oh no. No, not really. Well, anyway, we must investigate. At once. Right, at once. Mrs. Asso. "16th of April, 1:14 AM, Baker Street. The door to Winterbanks is open. And the lamp is burning. It must be Gina, mustn't it? Let us hope it's nothing more sinister. What? Come, there's not a moment to lose. Clearly something is afoot inside. Oh no. I see the calendar. There's no one here. Oh yes, there is. Mr. Sholmes? Mr. Sholmes? What the? Has Sholmes been shot? Oh no, it's like that classic CSI episode. Who shot Sherlock? Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. But after them. Go! Right. Oh, Holmes is dead. Sorry, Sholmes is dead. Sholmes is not dead. Sholmes is not dead because we heard him on the radio. Yeah, it was pretty cluttered when we saw it before, Maxting. Blast. I've lost them. Hello, what we have here? The alarm was just raised from his pawnbroker, sir. Would you know something about that? Officer, come with me. It's my friend, Mr. Sholmes. He's been shot. Shot? With the policeman close behind me, I ran back to Winterbanks. Oh yeah, do your dishes, Maxting. Ooh, cutscene.
Mr. Sholmes!
Mr. Narado.
How bad is it? Never mind me, but there's much at stake. Behind that door. In the storeroom. Hurry!
Okay, there's a corpse in there.
It's Gina!
I mean, the other guy's not okay either. I mean, I know we care about the rogue more than the random shopkeeper NPC, but still. Okay, what are we at? 1.5 hours. I know it's a short stream, but I think I better do the sensible thing and call it here. Because obviously I'm running D&D tomorrow, so I don't want to end up staying up too late. Okay, I don't know why they're recapping this, literally. Well, I suppose it makes sense to recap it. Because obviously it's a portable game, so you might be... Yeah, I won't save. Well, I won't save again, but, you know. Hey. Yeah, sorry, it's been a kind of a... It's only been an hour and a half, but... That's a day job for you. Yep, adios for today to you too, Maxting. Get those dishes done. I'm pointing the hell out of you. Do it. You have a good one too, Nellis. I'll just find someone to read. Okay, we've got Mirrop Cow doing some Warframe. Enbis. Yeah, I'll give Mirrop Cow a quick read. Okay, spell that correctly. So yeah, tomorrow I'll be live, actually, literally 24 hours from now, at 7:30 Greenwich Mean Time. That'll be the final part of Guinness Pig, the D&D adventure I've been running. The party have found the upper level of the dungeon, the most secure level. What secrets will they find? Will they find their way into the hidden, or the secure lab they've already found the door to? And what will they find? Inquiring minds wish to know. And also, if it helps, I'll be wearing the Tiefling cosplay again. But yeah, all that tomorrow. Friday, I'll be on Nick's channel for some Guild of Archons adventures. And with that, we're going to read in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment and subscribe. You're still my favourites. You know, say in the chat, what's your favourite adaptation of a Sherlock Holmes story? Personally, mine's The Great Mouse Detective.